Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T. from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it is time for the Jesse T Show. Back with you on a Thursday in Southern California. Hot, smoky, humid, and just miserable in Los Angeles today. Man, we got triple-digit temperatures. We got smoke from those fires down south of us, burning all the way to the ocean, it seems like, Riverside. We've got smoke up north. 300,000 acres have just burned. It's all concentrated in the Los Angeles basin, and it's humid. It's just one of those days here in a typical summer in paradise. It is paradise, except just too many. Bringing help and I don't hear him.
Because I didn't say anything. I can barely hear you. But how you doing, Mr. Jesse T?
Jesse, sir, you're going to have to find a good signal and park there.
Yeah, you're losing your signal.
We're back. We're back in rock and roll, man. We got a great show lined up for you. We call it a real story as I find a place to park right now, traveling in the Gray Ghost here in the city of San Fernando, California, just right by the San Fernando Mission that's been here for a long, long, long time since the Jesuits of the Vatican conquered the indigenous people here in the San Fernando Valley under Spanish rule. We love our Jesuits, don't we? I make a proposal right now. I think the Vatican is the absolute most evil entity the world has ever seen after the Council of Trent in 1541, when the Dark Pope and the Jesuits were created to put down the Protestant Reformation of Martin Luther. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument that that's true. There's still a great many good people who are a part of the Catholic Church. Now, I'm not one of them, but there are a lot of good people who are caught up in this institution. And when we bash this institution, I think we need to be aware of that. However, the child priest sex thing, man, just no, they need to be brought to justice. They need to be criminally prosecuted. And I don't know how none of these priests are in jail.
It's because they're the biggest con. They're the biggest con. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
It's because they're the biggest con gang in the history of mankind. That's why. Is before we had organized governments, they were the government. They were the people that control the world. You know what I mean? They moved countries to do what the hell they wanted to do one way or the other. Nothing has changed now, just the date.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when the Protestant Reformation happened in 1517, and Martin Luther was sitting in this little town in France, teaching the stuff of the Catholic Church, and one of the priests from the Vatican came through, was asking for indulgences. That is, buy your way to God. The more indulgent money you gave to him, or the worst tragedy that you did in your life, you could give more money to this priest, and the indulgence cost would go up, and then you would be absolved of your crimes. And Martin Luther said, wait a minute. No, you don't get to God by paying your way. You get to God by faith. And from that point on, the Catholic Church fought that, because all of a sudden the monarchs of Europe decided, oh, wow, we don't have to pay to get to God. We can just have faith. And they stopped paying the tax to the Catholic Church, the Vatican. And for 30 years, they didn't pay tax. In 1541, the Council of Trent was created, the first Council of Trent in Rome, and it's basically said we're developing a ninja-type squad called the Jesuits of Jerusalem, and we're going to have a general called the Dark Pope, and he's going to go out and kill, rape, rob, murder, destroy, whatever he has to do to get the kings to start paying rent again. and the peasants. And that's essentially where we have come today. The Catholic Church is actually ruled by the dark pope, not the white pope in white, the dark pope. And here we have a Jesuit who is the pope, the white pope. So we are really tumultuous time in that religious order. And I got to tell you something. The perversity and deviance that these guys have gotten away with for thousands of years, I just wish they would just really nuke them all. If I could nuke them all, I'd nuke them all, good, bad, and ugly. I don't care, because they've destroyed children's lives. That's my opinion. But then I'm radical in a lot of ways when it comes to that
Mr.
kind of stuff.
Jesse, now, right? It's not just the Catholic Church. You have to understand that the Protestant churches, all the churches that we see around us today, that we feel safe in attending, they're all just franchises of the Catholic Church. Just like every hamburger restaurant is not McDonald's, but they basically have the same menu. So when you go to a Protestant church, you still get the same thing. Sunday worship, imposter Jesus, pagan holidays.
The
You get the
largest
same.
organization in the world outside is organized, and they have the most egregious acts more than everybody.
Jesse, I'm sorry, sir. I think your signal is being interrupted.
Leads me to
You're going in and out.
and what a country can't allow and shouldn't allow. And the question today on that issue is they recently go dead, 3 teaching 11 children and more how to kill Americans. They were Muslim. They got all kinds of things that are happening around the country. That's the one that was reported. At what point do we build the wall?
Mr. Jesse, sir, I'm sorry. We're not able to understand you because your signal is being interrupted for some reason, and I don't know why. So I'm going to talk directly across the table to Mr. Dale Bird until you're ready to come back into the conversation. Dale, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you doing? I see
Dale,
you got all your guitars behind you there. You're going to have to come on one day and give us a couple of beats.
You know what? It's true. It's definitely the truth. And I got a story to tell you later about Joe Dandy and truth. But anyway, back to the lecture at hand. Now, you saw what happened with Candace Owens.
Which one? Which time? She's been in the news a little bit this week, all week. Are you talking about the one at the restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it. Go ahead and tell me your opinion about that first, bro, because I know you're a fan of hers.
Dale, this is one of the things I hate about liberals because they want to call me a racist. They want to call me a bigot. They want to call me a homophobe. They love to call people names. And they surrounded her and they called her a racist. They called her a white supremacist. Now, what are they trying to do? Give her street cred? Because that's what they did.
My thing is that I wish I would have been able to see the beginning of that tape when she was in the restaurant itself, where she says that they kicked her out. This tape kind of started in the middle of that, where her little friend that she carries around with her as backup, her social backup, which I can't stand. Another thing that I can't stand about her, they baited that on. Then they go outside is where the action really kind of picks up, and she starts talking about some. They were attacking cops. We didn't see that I didn't see that on any of the on the film there, but it was obvious to me, and this is what this child is, and she's a child. Trust me, a child looking for attention. She could have just went outside and walked away. She could have just went outside and walked away. She purposely baited them for them to say whatever the hell they were saying. Now, she's saying that it was Antifa. I saw about 10 or 15 of them there. Why the hell were they outside? Were they following her around like she's a superstar? No, dude. Miss me with this. I think that she is propaganda. I think that she does things like that for attention. Then she starts saying, oh, they attacked me. They attacked me. They didn't attack her. They said, end white supremacy. That's what they were chanting. End white supremacy. Now, I don't know about you, man. I'm kind of black. I'm kind of with that message. End white supremacy.
Okay, wait a minute. First of all, I had no idea that you were kind of black until you just mentioned it right there.
Well, I'm a lot, actually, way
I
black.
had no idea that you were kind of black. That's number one. Okay.
Well, shit,
Second of all, how are you going to chant end white supremacy at a black woman? She has no power to end white supremacy. If so, wouldn't you be chanting that shizzle at Oprah Winfrey or Michelle Obama?
Why would you say end white supremacy to Michelle Obama? That doesn't make any sense.
Because she has more power to do it than Candace Owens.
Excuse me. Is if you've ever watched her at her lectures that she goes to these schools and she talks to these students, they're mostly white crowds, white students that are there. And so when she's outside going in white supremacy, her little organization is what she's talking about. And there are some white supremacists that she is involved with there, and she's too silly to know it. She's too silly to know it. One of the things that drives me crazy with this woman is she takes stereotypes that white folks have put on us for centuries, decades and centuries. Then she takes those same stereotypes and says, you are that. That tells white people that you are the stereotypes that they already believe. Her crowd that she goes for are white supremacists, dude. And I don't know if she's just trying to be a mouthpiece for them or she's trying to gain attention for them. I know she's void of facts. I know she's void of history. And I know that basically she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. And she's dangerous for black folks too, by the way. Because now you have these white folks thinking exactly what a stereotype is backed up. You know what I'm saying? She says that to LeBron. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, is she ridiculous? Why would you? Part of her rhetoric is black people shouldn't have attacked black people. But the first time she gets
I never heard that from her. But yeah. If you say she said it, but I've never heard that from her.
What she just said about LeBron James is attacking another black man. That's what it is.
What she said. What? No, you have to understand that there is a context, okay? Right? First of all, I've never heard anybody say that a black person should not attack another black person. If you're wrong,
she says that all the time.
Should be put in check, okay?
She says that all the time. Now, I didn't say that.
I've never heard that.
I can run a million tapes of her saying it's part of her thing. This is one of the reasons why I can't stand her. On the tweet that she had with LeBron James, it was exactly that. She got mad because LeBron James said on the interview, he said that I would never sit down across and have a conversation with Donald Trump. I think that that's what he said. The last comment he's made other negative comments for the president in the past or whatever, but the recent one was about the school where he sat down with Don Lemon on CNN, and Don Lemon said, if the president was across from you right now, well, what would you tell him? And LeBron said, I would never sit across from him. He said, he straight out said, I would never sit across from him because I believe he is this and he takes sports to divide.
I believe he's dividing the country based on race.
No,
words to that effect.
You're right.
Okay?
Words to that effect. Right.
Right. However, I would like to point out, and I have nothing against Mr. James, who I consider to be a gentleman and a scholar and potentially the best ball player of all time. However, I have to say that what he said, that the president is dividing the country based on race, is simply not based in fact. It is simply
I'm
not
back
based
with you
in
guys.
fact.
Jesse's
Hey,
back.
we're glad that you're back. We're glad you're back, Jesse. No,
Look,
the country has
LeBron
been
James
great.
should just go sit down, shut up, and play basketball.
My
Shut
God.
up, build your schools, redo your city, take care of kids, help feed the homeless, get people off the street, do whatever you got to do good. Sit down, shut up, take your $50 million a year, and go play basketball. You have no right to put the president down. You and stupid Don Lemon, the dumbest guy on the planet Earth, you and him keying off on Trump. The only thing Trump did was defend himself. You think Trump is going to lay down and not say something? Come on. He doesn't work
Come
that
on.
way. He never has.
So let me
Never
get this
has.
straight. No, let me just get this straight because I want to go outside and make sure I'm still in America right now. Are you saying, as an American citizen, I do not have the right to criticize my president? Is that what
Not
you're
at
saying?
all.
No,
Not at
I'm
all.
not saying-
How the hell can you tell him to sit down and shut up?
I would never
Shut up
say that
and
to
play
somebody who could
basketball.
kick my ass
I-
repeatedly.
Look,
You
look,
feel
look,
me?
look. I said that. Let me explain why. Because he's an athlete. He's not a politician.
He's
He's
an
an
American.
American
I
citizen.
don't care
Yeah,
what he is.
yeah.
Go play basketball because what he's doing is enticing hatred and racism. He's been saying racist things since Cleveland, since
Okay.
Miami, for God's sake.
I want
he
you
just
to
got
name.
a bigger
I want
platform.
you to name me one thing that's racist or divisive that LeBron James has said. Just name me one
Oh,
thing.
come
I'm
on.
not
No,
talking
I have to go back and dig that up, but I'll tell you something. The guy should just keep his mouth shut and do the good things he does. He's great at what he does. He's the best that we have today. Maybe not the best of all time. I'd say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Michael Jordan were the best of all time, and Bill Russell. I would say those guys.
It sounds a lot like "Shut up, boy. We'll let you know when you can have your damn rights."
Oh,
That's
get
what
away
it sounds
from
like.
me! Get away!
That's what it sounds like.
That's exactly what it
I
says.
say that.
That's what it sounds
I
like.
say that about white people, brown people, black people, purple people, and green people. Man, play basketball. I don't need to hear you fostering hatred amongst everybody.
It's
No,
inappropriate and
and then-
un-American to
and then
say that.
What you call hate
And
is
Trump
not hate, but what
Trump didn't
LeBron
say
would call hate,
that.
it's not hate. This president has been dividing this country since he has been here. He has a culture war. And here's the thing. I can explain it. If you want. You can shake your head, but you two seem to be the only two people in America that don't feel it. Here's the thing. When you come out with power and you define somebody as the worst of who they are, when you define a section of people of the worst of who they are, not the best of who they are, and then you say that they can't do their job because they are part of that subset, that is culturally dividing people.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm giving you my opinion about what he should be doing and not opening his mouth about things he's not schooled in.
But it's not okay for him to give his opinion, Jesse? What's the difference in you, real estate agent, broker, you can say anything you want, but LeBron James cannot? What's the difference?
He has a bigger platform and he affects more people in a negative way or a positive
way.
And so does the president.
You know what? Is Dominic, how dare this man, LeBron James, at his age, 33 years old, conscious, social, seeing what's going on around him, give back to his community, open a school, not for just kids, but for adults too, pays for the whole thing for these 240 kids and their parents, then partners up with the University of Akron to guarantee their scholarships. How dare him? How dare him? What's wrong with him?
Once again, I said that I believe that not only is he a scholar and a gentleman and potentially the greatest basketball player of all time, and I do believe that if he went head up with Jordan, even in Jordan's prime, Jordan would have got smoked. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, okay? But
I'm not going to go there.
No. Furthermore, I do believe that he does have a right to express his opinion, just as every other American does. However, I have a right to disagree. Now, my disagreement is soft. My disagreement is soft, okay? Right. I'm not saying that because I don't 100% agree with what he said, then therefore he's a bad guy, okay? All I'm saying is I don't believe that the racial tensions and the divisiveness in this country started with Donald Trump.
Nobody is saying that. Who is saying that started? Wait a minute. Are you saying that we are saying that racial division and racial animus and this racism period started with Donald Trump? Because that's not what we're saying. This racism was always.
What did he say?
It's always been here. No, that's not what he's saying.
Okay.
That's not what he's saying. Is that he is pouring fuel on the fire?
Oh, he's real
fuel on the fire.
He's got more African Americans working.
Oh no, he is not.
He's got unemployment down. He's got wages up. He's got jobs, more jobs than there are people. And he's got companies bringing business back to America.
Yeah.
We have a 4.1 GDP. He's really racist. He's really racist.
I don't believe Mr. Trump is racist.
These are all fake numbers. These are all fake numbers. Yeah, these are all fake numbers.
They are fake numbers. They are fake numbers.
Sure. You want to know who the most racist president was? Obama. Obama spewed hatred for 8 years. He spewed division. 8 years, he spewed so much hate and he just created the social environment that we have to live in today. It was Obama. It was Clinton.
I want to know how he did that. Why? Because he showed up black? How did Obama?
He didn't do anything for African Americans.
Because he showed up black. I'm talking about the racist part.
He did nothing for African Americans at all. His hope and change were more unemployment. His hope and change was more debt. His hope and change was more out of job. His hope and change was more. Was a perfect example of his hope and change. Baltimore is a perfect example of his hope and change. DC outside the Beltway, Obama's hope and change.
Well, first of all,
Trump's a racist.
So that's racist? Wait a minute. That's racist? Is that what you call is racist? Because of economic numbers? Let me just school you in on economic numbers, sir. Is that this man took over, I'm talking about Obama, he took over with the greatest recession since the Great Depression. So if you want to start talking about numbers from Jump Street, let's talk about them for a second.
Well, let's talk about numbers. He has the slowest growth of any recovery ever in the history of the United States.
Compared to what? Compared to what?
Compared to the statistics since they would start being taken for the United States economy.
No, I'm sorry. The recession that we had in 2009, and I'm gonna say this real quick, and then I'm gonna go back to what he always taunts that pisses me off as a black man. But let me go here first. The recession that we had in 2009 was the biggest recession or economic downturn that we've had since the Great Depression. Now, when you say the slowest economic recovery. Compared to what? Compared to the Great Depression? Reagan had a downturn, but it was nowhere close to what that was in 2009. That was basically about inflation. Then let me go to somewhere else that he says all the time that I laugh at. I just generally laugh at it. At the height of the recession in the 2009 recession, at the height of it in January or February of 2010, black unemployment spiked to 16.2. 16.2. If you look at the chart from that time to the time that he left office, black unemployment went down to 7.4. So when your boy, the Agent Orange, comes in and then goes, it's the biggest, the lowest unemployment for black people of all times. You took it down a point. Oh, well.
All he had to do is leave it alone. It was going to continue to go down, and the economy will continue to go up. This is not Trump's economy still.
He fostered it by creating an environment, cutting out the bureaucracy, the thousands and thousands of bureaucratic stranglehold that was on. No, it is not.
I'm just going to let you get away with it. 2016.
Pull up the record and see it.
It doesn't kick in overnight, Jesse.
2016 in any measurement on Barack Obama's economy to 2017 to President Trump. It is the same. And actually, Barack has bigger job growth in 2016 than 2017. The only thing that has gone down is the unemployment percentage rate, and it's only gone down 2 points. This man, it's like, you know what it's like, what's frustrating to me? It's like back in the old days, D, when colleges finally let black players play. And they were the best ones on the squad. See what I'm saying? And but when they played the South, they can run all over the place as running backs, but they couldn't score. You feel what I'm saying? So you start on your 3-yard line and you work your way down the field with the workhorse, and you get all the way to the 2-yard line. And because you can't score, because you're going to outrage the Southern racist crowd, then you bring in the other white boy that it doesn't play. He's the backup just in case your star gets in, and then he takes it in for the touchdown, and then he says, "Oh, I'm the greatest of all time." You feel what I'm saying? I would give Donald Trump some credit if he stopped disrespecting the men that gave him a healthy economy.
It's like a relay race.
All right.
Dominic.
All right, no, I got to give it up. That was a kind of a slam dunk. I got to give it up. That was a slam dunk. I have no rebuttal to that.
Thank you. It's none to be said. It's just they're using talking points to try to fool us as black folks. Don't try to fool us, because now that the unemployment rate is as small as it is, the next time we have an economic downturn, guess who's going to get hit first? It just started happening today in South Carolina because of the president's tariff, whatever the hell he's trying to do. 175 people, and they look like brothers, lost their job at one of the last TV manufacturers in South Carolina because the tariffs killed them. There's other jobs down in South Carolina that came in under the NAFTA business that are pumped up. Those guys in South Carolina has done a good job internationally, giving BMW in there, some other car manufacturers in there. They're providing thousands of jobs, and they're telling this man, stop this. You are going to kill us. I read this economic forecast. People are getting ready to lose their jobs down here because this fool thinks that it's a game. He thinks that they're pieces on the game of Trump board. There's not a game of Trump board here, sir. You are dealing with real damn lies. You're experimenting for real damn lies.
Tell me your take on why people are leaving the Democratic Party.
I didn't hear what you said, Jess.
Tell me your take on why people are leaving the Democratic Party.
They're not. They're not.
Says who?
Says your rhetoric, your talking point. No, they're not. And as a matter of fact, it's the other way around. People are leaving the Republican Party. It was a shrinking base any damn way. And now all of your establishment people like Steve Smith, Nicole Wallace, their shakers and movers have left your party. When George Will says, this is not the party that I know, then you know you have a damn problem. He's getting 90% of Republican approval? Yeah, because there's only 3 people left in the motherfucker. Let me make you understand this. If you don't see what happened in Ohio on Tuesday,
the Ohio race isn't called yet. It isn't called yet.
So
it should be a slam dunk.
You win by 1 vote or you win by 1 million votes. It makes no difference.
It does make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference at all.
It shouldn't be a close race based on the fact that your president won it by 11 points. Where is his strength? It's not there anymore.
It's not here anymore. So suburban white women and independents are leading men by droves.
You've been targeting him right from the beginning. Dominic, what do you say about people walking away from the DNC?
Okay. Now, before I go any further, as a disclaimer, I have to note that I have been called a spokesperson for the walkaway campaign. I have to put it out there that they have permission. They asked for permission to use my videos as part of their nonprofit. I have to add that, yes, I am a walkaway person. That being said, The reasons that people are walking away from the Democratic Party is because they simply don't represent their values. They simply do not represent their values. They are the party of abortion. They're the party of gay rights. They're the party of open borders. They're the party of we're going to do anything that we can do to hamstring Trump, even if he's trying to make peace with North Korea, even if he's trying to make peace with Russia. They are the party of Russiagate. The Russians did everything. The Russians ate my homework. The Russians kicked me in the nuts. The Russians made me late for work. They're the party of excuses. They're the party of losers. They're the party of corruption. And people are tired of it, and they're walking out. Walk away.
They're the party of Maxine Waters. That's what they're the party of in her district.
They're the party of intolerance. They're the party of Antifa. They're the party of violent protesters.
Antifa, BLM.
Talking negative about Maxine Waters is not going to get you any brownie points. I voted for her. She's my congresswoman, and I will vote for her again. She's doing a good job for her constituents.
Thank you for bringing that up. Since she's your congresswoman,
that's right.
Keep in mind that in her district, there's poop all over the streets. 60,000 complaints for street doo-doo.
Talk to the mayor of L.A.
Needles
that's
all over the street. Needles all over the street.
That's a
homelessness
local issue.
Everywhere. She's down at the border campaigning for the rights of people who are not even citizens.
That's a local issue, my friend. Our local authorities need to take charge and clean that up.
It is not a local issue. No.
It is.
Hold on a second. Now, first off, we talk about Maxine Waters. She doesn't even live in her district. You're supposed to live in your district.
So what? Who cares?
So what? Well, you go talk to Richard Alarcon, who got taken out. He was not living in his district by one block. He lost his seat on the LA City Council. You go talk to Raul Bocanegra, the state senator, a state assemblyman. He lost his seat. You go talk to people who have lost their seat because they don't live in their district. It's one of the rules. There's no so what about it.
Well,
it's one of the rules. That's what it is.
She lives in
a $4 million house. Let me finish. She lives in a $4 or $5 million house outside her district. Put it right in the heart of your district where the poop and the pee and the homeless and the trash. She has done nothing for her district. She's built 3 or 4 policies in 20 years that she's like Bernie Sanders. I mean, they've done nothing, and yet they reap the rewards of $195,000 a year. And then she directs money to her family out of her campaign. You tell me she's your girl? You voted for a criminal, man.
Okay, you open up Pandora's box.
And furthermore, she incites violence. She told people to be violent.
She did not tell people to be violent. She did not tell people to be violent. No, she did not.
She's done nothing compared to the president of the United States, who has not been presidential. He's been a street thug, and quite frankly, he's not even a tough guy. If he was in front of some tough people, he'd be pissing in his pants, okay? He is allowed to get away with his thuggery because he says so, and nobody has the chutzpah to push back on him. But let's talk about Mitch McConnell, okay? Let's talk about some of the Republicans that live high on the hog. What are they doing for the people that keep voting them in and out? Let's look at the state of Kentucky, where Mitch comes from. Okay, what is he doing for all the white people that keep voting him in, that are living in shacks with blue tarps on them because they don't have any money?
White brothers and sisters.
I'm talking about white folks that keep voting this clown in. It's the same thing. Okay, why? What is he? He doesn't bring any bacon back to his neighborhoods. So what's the difference?
Wait a minute now. McConnell is a professional politician who's just living off the taxpayers' draw. That's all he is.
But it's okay. It's okay if he does it, but you want to criticize Maxine.
He's much worse. He's much worse than that.
No, it is not okay. But one thing he doesn't do, he doesn't go up there in the stand and yell and get the fake news media to come out and put the cameras in him and then incite riots among the rest of Americans who don't know any better.
He doesn't have to do that because he's got other people that do it for him.
Well, it doesn't matter. He doesn't do it, but he shouldn't be there anyway. You and I have had that discussion many times. These professional politicians. You know, Donald Trump just recently, last week or a week and a half, he's pushing to give true term limits in Congress and the Senate. He signed a bill to start pushing towards that. And I agree with that. True term limits.
Hey, listen, I don't have a problem with that, but I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime because Congress is not going to vote against themselves. And you and I have had this discussion before.
The big pharma, the insurance companies, the banks, the ones that foster the bills to these professional politicians, they're bought and sold for. Look at Rand Paul. He's in goddamn Russia. But,
cutting deals.
Okay, we got 20 minutes. Let's talk about Alex Jones and InfoWars. Go.
Why?
Well, that's an attack on the First Amendment.
Why talk about him at
with
all?
The First Amendment.
He's an idiot.
Sure does.
No, it does not. No, it does not. This is what kills me with you guys.
Attack on the First Amendment.
It is not an attack on the First Amendment. And this is what I'm saying about
because it's a privately held company. No, it's an attack on the First Amendment.
No.
I'll explain to you why it's an attack on the First Amendment.
Please do. All ears.
No, speak your piece.
It's an attack on the First Amendment because they took him off of everything. Now, wait a minute now. There's no standard. There's no accountability. He didn't violate terms of service. They decided that they didn't like what he had to say, and they chose to pull the plug on him. And if they can do that to him, they can do that to you. They can do that to me.
Here's the thing what you guys are missing here, because you always like to inflate crap. The First Amendment does not give you the right to go on any paid or anybody else's platform to spew whatever the hell you're saying. That is not the First Amendment right. That would be just like Alex Jones saying, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna come in your house and do my First Amendment and have my First Amendment right, and there's nothing that you can do about it." That's bullshit. This is my house. Get the hell out of here. Okay. Facebook, that's their house. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. That's their house. Nobody is stopping him from saying what the hell he's saying. He has a million other outlets that he can talk his crap about. Last week, I got put in Facebook jail. And Facebook jail. And I'm gonna tell you what. Right. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I couldn't say nothing about it. It is what it is. Is my friend over here posted a comment about his memes that he put up there. And I guess somebody complained about him saying that he's a race baiter. And all of his Trump friends came in to defend him, and all I did was read all the comments. And then one of your friends jokingly said, "Oh, race baiting, what kind of bait were you using?" And so, my sarcastic ass, I couldn't help myself. I put the comment back.
You took the bait. You took the bait.
I didn't take the bait. I couldn't help myself.
Never take the bait.
Wait a minute. I couldn't help myself. And so I was like, "Oh my God." Right. And then I said, let me tell you what I said. And so I typed back and said,
No, don't repeat it. You already got race baited once. Don't race bait yourself.
Shit about being racist, them calling me a racist. I know I'm not one.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I typed back. He's like, yeah, he used it's a new bait called Niglet 2.0. Catches all sizes of racists. And I guess somebody reported me, and I was waiting in Facebook jail for a day. Don't worry, I didn't drop the soap. I didn't have to get a bed. I didn't have to shake nobody. I had none of that. But I was cool.
But all the rap artists and all the artists today can use the N-word anytime they want, right? And
format. They can
and the poets. Wait a minute. The poets that write poetry and conscientious poetry and conscientious lyrics, like KRS-One and all those.
Jesse, he did not use the N-word. Had he used the N-word, nobody would have said anything.
Right.
Nobody would have said anything.
Facebook itself didn't take you down. Somebody complained. Somebody that has thin skin and can't take a punch in the nose.
That's the interesting twist. Yeah, because they have an algorithm that they load all 5 million words into.
That word is not part of their algorithm, Jesse.
Somebody
reported him.
Yeah, one of the cult members reported me because
right.
I be going out on their silly asses every time I get a chance to go
Well,
on their posts.
Here's my
They
response.
don't like me very much.
Here's my response to you, Dell. Okay, here's why I say it's the First Amendment. Yes, okay. It's not the classic definition of the First Amendment, which I know very well. It's not the classic definition because you're right. As I said in my first launch of a missile here, that these are privately held companies. You sign a terms of agreement, and the print is Pica 7. No one ever reads it. It's page 46 of it. And yes, they're privately held companies. But here's the point. The point is, if you're going to do it to Alex Jones, whether you like him or don't, it doesn't really make a difference in what I'm saying. Well, if you're going to do it to Alex Jones, then do it to Antifa.
Yeah.
Do it to all the
do it to everybody else. You should do it to everybody else.
Do it to BLM. Do it to everybody on every side of the issue, and they don't, and that's why it becomes a First Amendment argument.
Because what you're doing, Mr. Jesse, is you're equating what Alex Jones does to what other groups that you don't like.
What does Alex Jones do?
Wait a minute.
His show is built on conspiracy theory, and there's no facts involved.
It's irrelevant what Alex Jones does.
Right.
It's not relevant to the
conversation. It is. No, it is. No, it actually is. Just for what you said. For what you said.
There's lots of groups like KKK, like BLM. There's lots of groups out there. There's so many of them that use hate words and all kinds of hate stuff. They should get rid of them too.
What I'm saying is that what you're equating what Alex Jones does, and if you want to use what Black Lives Matters does as a contrast where they should be taken out too, your theory is wrong. What Alex Jones does is something completely different from. I see Louis Farrakhan on there all the time. I see all kinds of black actors be taken out all the time. Is that they don't spew hate like the way that you're talking about. They do not do it. And I think that me and you need to sit down and have a conversation about who's the hate motherfuckers in this country and who's the ones that are reacting to the hate in this country, because there's a difference. There's a difference. What Alex Jones does is inflammatory. What he does is, wait a minute. No, you can shake your head all you want, is slanderous. I don't even know what word to do it. When you come on here and you make accusations based on nothing, that the Newtown situation with those kids that got killed down there is fake and bullshit and made up for whatever reason, and you don't have no proof to do it, that's slanderous. That's inflammatory. Okay. When Black Lives Matter comes on and says, we stand for this, we stand for, because we're not trying to see black men getting shot in the head for this. It's a difference. They're not coming out when they come out when Black Lives Matters comes out on Facebook and says, "Hey, look, we're not with this. You need to start killing white folks. You need to start killing cops." When they say that crap, then maybe you will have an equation. But they don't say that. Well, you guys just make that up. You just make that up.
No, not made up. It's not being made up. They should be tossed off too, in my opinion.
You can't show me one time when any legitimate Black Lives Matter, and which is not a unified organization, by the way. There are people, they're activists that go under this flag. So there's no real one doctor with it. But here's the thing. You can't show me one time on the internet or anywhere else on the media where some leader or from Black Lives Matter has come on and said, we need to start killing all white folks. We need to start killing all cops.
Okay, no problem. Point has been made. New subject, old subject. Is Antifa a terrorist organization? Jesse.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Yes, are you there?
Antifa? The terrorist organization?
Why are they terrorists?
Yes, absolutely. Just define what terrorism is. The use of force to
use violence. Right. Number two, they incite fear. Number three, they wear masks. We don't know who people are. Right.
Just define terrorism, and they're poster childs in the dictionary for terrorism. Classic terrorism.
Does the money come through the same people who funnel money to the Democratic Party?
What's that? You broke up.
Well, the money behind Antifa. Some suggest that this is the same money that's used to lobby the Democratic Party.
Says who?
Some say it's George Soros. If it's George Soros, yes, George Soros wants to topple America. He wants to be czar of the world.
Jill, how do you feel about it?
I have no comment on any of that.
Are you pie in the sky, or you know for a fact that George is behind it?
Yeah, I don't comment on conspiracy crap.
Yeah, see, that's
You know
some
what I'm
Alex
saying?
Jones crap.
It's the reason why is that number one, I don't really know enough about. I don't really know enough about Antifa to make that comment. What their organization is, or even for what they stand for, to be basically truthful. They're kind of all over the place. I know that they're anti-fascist. I know that they say that they're anti-white supremacy, but the makeup of the crowd, and when they show up, it doesn't look like they're like, if they showed up at a KKK rally, then that would make sense. You feel what I'm saying? But sometimes they show up in places like, why are you at McDonald's, man? What the fuck is going on here? I don't get them sometimes. They're like the most unorganized terrorist group I ever seen in life. And so I'm still trying to understand what they are. To be truthfully honest, I'm not trying to be funny. I just.
How can a guy?
Why are you bitching at me? I'm against white supremacy too. Why?
Maybe they don't like the new McDonald's menu. Maybe they don't like the new McDonald's menu. That's what it is.
Maybe that's
God
what it is.
Damn it, the McDonald's messing it all up. I don't know what it is. But why is the guy that did that record, Donald Trump's latest star on Hollywood Walk of Fame, not sitting in jail with a big fine?
Who did
I'll tell you why. Go ahead, Joe.
Did they catch him?
Oh no, he stood up. He stood up in the committee meeting that voted on taking Donald Trump's star out of the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
No, I'm talking about
West Hollywood.
Whoever ripped it up.
Yeah, he stood up, and he said, "I'm the guy that destroyed the star with the pickaxe."
Right.
Blah blah blah. Okay. Now, why wasn't he arrested for public defamation of public property? Because
it's called
that's
vandalism.
owned by the city of Los Angeles.
That's called vandalism. His ass should be in jail.
Right.
It's the discussion.
Why isn't he?
I have no idea why.
Well, maybe he really didn't do it, and they looked into it, and maybe he's just blowing smoke. Come on, Jesse. If he really did that, you know damn well that guy would be locked up. Come on.
Yeah, of course he would. Who knows? Well, who
They
knows?
didn't lock the other guy up. They didn't lock the other guy up.
What other guy?
The first guy will destroy it. The first guy will destroy it. This is the second time it's been destroyed.
It'll probably be done again.
I'm sure he will. Mr. President, maybe you need to hold off before you put another star down there.
Maybe just
like waiting for.
So actually, what it is, it's the progressive left.
Please.
No,
Jesse,
keep in mind. Nobody destroyed Bill Cosby's star. Nobody destroyed Harvey Weinstein's star. Nobody destroyed Kevin Spacey's star. This is all about the liberal media inciting their followers to violence.
You've been watching too much Fox.
And why is that? Why?
Yeah, that's it is. It's just all talking points. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you listen to Jesse and Dominic, it sounds like outside is The Walking Dead. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like I can't go outside my house right now without getting shot. That's what it sounds like.
Why is this a name calling adventure? I mean, you want to start calling names? I'll start calling names. But here's the point. No, it's true. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, all of them have an agenda which is not real. Why can't the American public understand that?
Well, it's real simple, Jesse.
I think it's because they're lazy. I think it's because they watch TV not to get the news, but to find out how they should think. So when you watch the news, there'll be somebody who you resonate with, maybe Rachel Maddow, maybe somebody else, and whatever they think, you think.
That's bullshit.
And it's a very lazy approach.
No, I always said the media is lazy.
Dale, wait a second, Dale. Lee, let me ask you a question. Fox, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, all of the big media, 2, 4, 7, 9, 11, 13, whatever, it doesn't matter. Why can't the American public see that these entities are owned and governed by larger corporations that have an agenda. Why can't the American public see that, Lee?
Because nobody
The
tells them
truth
that.
is, the truth
No,
is, the
no, no,
truth
Lee,
is that.
Dominic, let me hear Lee.
Lee, go ahead.
Nobody has informed the general public in terms of what the agenda is of any of these media companies, number one. Number two, it started, and I know you're not going to like this, but the downfall of our media started under the Reagan administration when he deregulated our industry. And from that day forward, not one president, hear what I'm saying, not one president has had the balls to change anything, including our current president, because the people that he's put into the Federal Communications Commission are considering deregulating even further, allowing these major corporations like iHeartMedia and all the rest. I'm not just picking on them, but everybody knows that name, so they're the low-hanging fruit off of the tree right now, that they will be allowed to buy even more stations in any given city. That, my friend, I said it back 30-some years ago. I'll say it again. It's not in the best interest of the public. The bottom line is,
I agree with you.
The broadcasters of today are nothing more than investment bankers, people who are looking to line their pockets. When their companies fail, they give themselves bonuses. Okay? The audience size of the media,
Joe Scarborough and Hannity are making $36 million a year, both of them.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely, you're absolutely, and I agree with you because I'm a part of that industry way back then, and I said the same thing, that this deregulation of the FCC is going to destroy our profession in 20, 30, 40 years ahead.
That's
I
right.
absolutely
That's
agree
what
with
Now,
happened.
now is the Lee, you're exactly right about what you said here, but I got to put some dubs on what you're saying here, because this is not the media's fault. It's our fault as citizens for allowing, for allowing these companies to play lazy. They play lazy. All they do is give you what they think that you want to hear.
Yeah, but
and they're actually right.
You're
because
right, but we don't know.
You don't want to hear a boring summation about what's happening in Yemen. You will turn that off. Americans will turn that off. If any real newscaster came on and said, we're going to spend my whole hour on what's happening in Yemen, you would turn it off. No ratings, nothing. You wouldn't get anything. But the first time you give me some big titty white porn star up there, oh, the ratings go crazy.
Why can't you be a black titty porn star?
Hey, look, I'm not, and I don't discriminate with titties.
Why can't you be a brown titty porn star?
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Don't get me twisted. My bad. I do not discriminate with titties. They could be
just as long as she's not a male titty porn star.
Right.
A male titty porn star.
Right. So it's our fault. It's how we disseminate news.
I want to get some genitalia cut off. I don't want them either.
Well, listen. Okay, let me answer your question or your comment there, Del. It's real simple. When deregulations kicked in, there was no public forums put into place to educate the public as to the power that they possess, because during the deregulations, the FCC said to the broadcast owners, okay, you guys are going to police yourself moving forward. We're no longer going to monitor your radio stations the way we used to. And when we heard you do stuff that didn't make sense, we would come in and slap you. We would pull your license. Well, Mr. Broadcaster, you guys are professionals. Come on, you've invested a lot of money here. You know when you're doing right. You know when you're doing wrong. And if the public doesn't complain, then we're not gonna step in. That's what happened. But
and go ahead, Lee, because I'll add something.
So
go ahead.
When that happened, the public was never told that you are now controlling policing the public airwaves in America. We were never told that. We were never educated as to what the steps would be in terms of when you don't like what your local station is doing. Here's the process that you can complain to us, the Federal Communications Commission, and we will investigate. That was never done. So the public was left ignorant in terms of what the process is.
Yeah, and not only that, Lee, And in that, it used to be, fellas, that prior to deregulation done in the administration of Reagan, there were 3 or 4 things I didn't like what he did. And that was one of them. Though I'm a Reaganite, but I didn't like 3 or 4 things that he did. That was one of them, because I saw the future. This was before internet technologies, all this new technology. This was way back in the 80s. We had no imagination. The common broadcaster had no idea what was coming down on the technical side and how that was going to change. Very few did. Apple Computer was only around for a couple of years at that time. And IBM was just for corporations and businesses. This social integration was not even on anybody's mind. But it used to be that if your news department or your public service department or your radio station said something that what we call the left today, you had to offset that with something that what we call the right today. You had to have fair, equal balance to some degree. This is why Channel 2, Walter Cronkite, all those cats, Harry Reasoner, all those guys way back then, the anchors of that time on the network media, they were more down the line than they are today, because they were given the mandate that they had to present, at least try to present both sides of a story. That's when journalism was journalism, and the Mike Wallaces and these kinds of people were able to rise through investigations. But when that ended in 80, then like Lee said, it was turned over to the radio stations, and radio TV stations are all about making money. That's all they're about, making money. And when the
but if you know that, but if you, I'm sorry, if you know that, if you know that,
it didn't matter because they would fire anybody who would argue against that.
No, if you know that as a consumer, and Lee, I appreciate what you just said here. If you know that as a consumer, when you get a news article or whatever they're talking about on the big three, is as you see nowadays, it's all opinion. They'll tell you
commentary. That's
when,
not
where,
journalism.
and how, and then they'll give you the rest of the other 90% is all opinion. What you have to do as a news consumer is take the when, where, and how, and find it out yourself.
Yes,
you have to find that information yourself, because there is no way on any hour broadcast if they're going to cover one particular story to anybody's satisfaction. So my thing is that the newscasters or these news stations are only giving Americans what they want. They're giving them information that supports their already biased ideology, one way or the other. If you want to know something about a subject, it's up to you to find out the reality of it.
And here's the rub. Bill. Here's the rub. And you hit it right on the spot, and I'm going to answer my own question. And here's the rub, is that people won't do that, especially as time has gone on. With people, our education system has fallen off. Our reading has fallen off. Our ability to have cognitive and abstract thinking has fallen off. We have fallen behind in that area of the capacity of the mind. And also, in the nutshell, we've been dumbed down for 50 years, and especially since the 80s, so that we don't do exactly what you said, Del. And so entertainment now has become news. News is no longer news. It's entertainment.
Right.
This is why we go to the theaters and we watch CGI screens and big explosions, and every Superman movie is the same. It's the same. You can tell the story before it starts because there is no story. It's the same thing. It's a dumbing down, and just for the entertainment value, the kinetic sense value. That's all they're shooting for money, because they're owned. Look at Fox News is owned by the Saudis. They're the largest stockholder of Fox News. The Saudis, an evil organization in the Middle East that we put in power after World War II from the Wahhabis. So come on. So people don't know that, and so we get this line that everything that it's pigeonholed against each other, and so we get this dissension, this hatred, this arguing, this emotional outburst, and that's what part of what's wrong with fake news. It's entertainment.
Well, you know what? My own question. And it's going to get worse, because under our current administration, shortly after he appointed his new head of the Federal Communications Commission. They went further and deregulated the ownership percentage. Now a foreign concern, a foreign entity can own 100% of a radio station group, TV group, whatever. That,
like
to me,
clear.
You can't go to England or Germany or any other country in the world and say, I want to go ahead and buy a group of radio stations and own 100% of it. It ain't going to happen. And I don't think it's in the best interest of America to have foreigners owning our media, that they can then dictate what we can say or don't say to Americans who are not Americans. I have a real problem with that.
Amen.
Okay?
Well,
that is not good.
I agree with you on that. And that comes back to my conspiracy thing, Del.
Oh, God. At least you warned me before you did it, but go ahead. That's cool.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go get a shot of whiskey, pal.
I got one already. I got one.
But that comes back to my conspiracy, and that is that the world is no longer owned by the people of their countries. They don't. Governments are corrupt for the dollar bill. There's a very small few of entities that govern the planet. So that kicks out the question, why do they want to destroy humanity? Because ultimately, that's what we're doing to ourselves all around the planet, is destroying humanity. And why is that? That's an interesting question. I have an answer, maybe next week.
Yeah. I have one too next week.
Next week. That's next week's answer. Lee, it's good to have you on the show, pal. Nice
I couldn't help it. I had to jump in and help Del out because y'all were clowning my guy.
I can handle these clowns at any time, but I appreciate your help, Lee.
Yeah, I need to bring my left hook
Lee and I
in.
go back and this stuff all the time. Hey, Dominic, thanks a lot for joining. Del, love your opinions. That's what it's all about. Maybe opposites on everything, but we walk away. That's what America's always been about. Coming to learn a little something from the other guy, even if he isn't exactly what you do. Hey, good to have you along with us. This is Jesse T Show. You got the real story, the way it's told every day, everywhere in this country. Good to have you along next Thursday. Got some great questions to answer. And hey, give the word. Where can we find you, Del?
Kendall Invest at yahoo.com, everywhere.
All right. Dominic, are you still with us?
I am. I'm closely associated with the walkaway movement, and you can easily find me if you search for my name and put walkaway.
And Lee Baby Michaels on the mornings, 10 to 12, right here at the Power of Voices, every day of the week. Jesse T, the Brown Beauty's off duty. See ya! Boom!